and welcome to Sullivan's Farm. I'm taking a shortcut back through forestry here at the moment. I'm just after doing a grass walk again to see how we're fixed for grass. There's plenty of it. If those things matter to you, I think we have an average farm cover of 760 something kgs of dry matter per hectare, and we have 35 days ahead, and the target apparently is between 20 and 30. So there's no problem with the grass. It's getting out to the grass, and how many boats we need to get the cattle out there is the problem. But they're all out of the shed at least anyway. The last 5 heifers are gone out. They're with the yearlings, and we've moved the first group of 5 Frisian heifers out to the new shed as well. So we'll go up for a look. As we're walking through, I'm always struck by the amount of grass that's out here in the alder we planted. We couldn't plant, can't really see them there now. There's ESB lines overhead, so couldn't plant underneath them, but there's always a nice peak of grass in around there as well. Plenty of rushes, well, a few rushes down here as well. One of the reasons this field was planted, but maybe the sheep used to come in here the odd time. The cattle don't. Here they are in their new shed, picking everything, smelling everything, licking anything that moves, but generally enjoying the extra bit of space and the extra fresh air and the sky over their heads, kinda. And yeah, they're picking a bit of hay here as well, so all is good. When I get organised, we'll move in those bales into the old shed and move out the next 5 after that too. One thing to show you, and I'm right proud of it. I know it is a kind of a thing in Nottingham in most places, but I never used those brackets before on the uprights for the shed. Another one there at the bottom, and they're wicked handy oaks. Tis always the simple things that make a big difference. I'm not using twine, and it's a lot more solid, so that's real progress around here. There's just the chain on the other side, and what's it called, the Galvo band is holding that bit of a pallet there, but they're not really going to challenge it. Hello, missus. So it'll do for now, and it's still a bit of progress from where they were. Not an awful lot to see here apart from that stuff, but myself and the eldest, Isaac, started cleaning it out there earlier today, so another small bit of progress. We've opened up that door there to let in a bit of light, and we'll get around to that too. We'll get pen set up here next week maybe when it's all hosed down and dried out, and another 5 can come out here for a bit more space and a bit more fresh air. Ironically enough, all that'll be gone, it'll be fresh. Seeing as I'm showing off all the little gadgets, the new gadgets I got today over in the Farmer Leaf shop. There's one now for holding on. It's a kind of an angled U-bracket, something like that it's called. You can change which way or what angle it goes at there, so it'll fit on the diagonal feed barrier there, but you can put a bar across there then to keep the calves in. Now I've only one side of it done, and there's a bit more figuring out to be done yet, but they started to eat that green mesh, which is nice and chewy apparently, so they started to eat that. The wind doesn't come from there, and it won't come from there maybe till probably till next March again, so it wasn't really stopping the wind. And the biggest job of the whole lot, they started coming out through it. I came over there a few evenings, and there was a calf outside, out over there, standing looking at me, which is fine as long as they stay there. But the danger is they might take off and head for the field out there instead. So something had to give. And to be honest, I might need 2 bears there, because it's hard to get the height right for where it is now. Do you see it there? It's kind of neither here nor there. I don't know, would some of them maybe fit underneath it? And then if I put it up, if I put it lower, they might go out over it. And if I put it up higher, they'll definitely go underneath it. So I guess that's a long way of saying it's not ideal having the feed barriers there like that to keep the calves behind them. But sure, again, you don't know these things till you try them. So we'll figure it out. Let there be no doubt, we'll figure it out. So as ever, time is not our friend. So we have to put the few accoutrements away into the little toolbox again, or into the little socket set again. And leave it for another day, because we have to give a bale out to the 35 of them that are outside now. There's plenty of grass, but it's just kind of too wet, and they're only stamping it into the ground and walking around at the edges and bawling and looking at me and bawling and looking in the window of the dwelling house at home. So I'm going to give them a bale and a few more cubes, or the barley ration mix, and we'll check the weather apps 3 or 4 more times tomorrow morning until they might tell us what we're looking for. So by the time we've given them that bale, sure it'll be time to throw in the milk to them then as well, so the days don't be long pushing on. It is the following day, and thankfully the weather gods must have been listening yesterday evening there, and the weather's nice again. The yearlings are out, and the bigger 5 heifers are out with them as well, so they're all in the one bunch now. And if it wasn't for the markings on the older heifers, you couldn't really tell them apart from the yearlings. I was looking at some of the numbers as well, and a couple of the yearling bull calves, or yearling bulls now, or bullocks, are actually heavier than some of the little dairy cross type things I bought. But look, we'll have a look at them anyway. Here's one to come and say hello. She's a half a twin, so no point in trying to put an AI straw or an Angus bull with her. She'll have to be fattened and sent off, but we'll see how they go. There's the little one I would have showed you in one of the first videos I made last summer. People thought she was maybe a Kerry type or a Dexter type almost, but I looked up her pedigree anyway, and there's apparently only 13% Jersey in her, but I'd be saying it is probably closer to, God only knows, 50%. But there's the weanling in front of her, or yearling in front of her. You wouldn't know the difference between them. But anyway, there's a nice Belgian blue bullock standing up. I can't remember his weight off the top of my head, but the bottom line, I did up the sums there the other day. We'll have a look at them there now. The bottom line anyway is that the average this year was 298 kgs across the 30 of them, and I think last year the heaviest one in the place was one of those limousine heifers, and she was 299 kgs. So it's a real jump forward. There's a few different reasons, I guess, for it. One of the reasons is that there's more bulls than heifers as a percentage this year compared to last year. They were outwintered, which seems to have helped as well, and they got 1.5 kilos over the winter compared to the kilo the ones inside in the cubicle shed got last year. So there's a few bits to take from that for me anyway. It's nice to see things better this year than last year anyway. Putting cattle into those cubicles just isn't a good idea, I think. Outwintering is a bit harder, but at the same time there seems to be a decent benefit from it. And the field and the soil will benefit too when we reseed it. Seeing as we're just walking into this part of the field, there's the good little woman, I wouldn't doubt you, on camera and everything. There's a couple of the Belgian blue heifers. We might try and put an AI straw into there, into May or June time. I can't recall their weights, but they were kind of, as far as I remember, not exactly now, between 340, 350 kgs, which was nice. I think the best of them was one of the Angus bulls, and he was 368 kgs. I do remember the top number, all right, and the small. You remember the top, the worst, the best, and the worst. The worst of them, or the smallest of them. We won't call her the worst. She's doing her own thing. The smallest of them was the little cemental heifer that I showed you previously. But the good thing about her, I think when I weighed him back in September, she had done maybe about 0.4 kg a day in daily weight gain, but that went to 0.6 over the winter. She was inside on straw with another 9 of them, so I guess there's something to take from that too. The smaller ones were in on straw, and they did better inside on straw and silage and cubes and all that in there. So again, something to bear in mind for the coming winter and the calves that are inside in the shed at the moment. That's pretty much it then for this video. Calves are doing okay inside, getting over the scour at long last. We have a few little implements that make life a bit easier inside in the shed there now. Very basic things, a couple of euro, but should they make all the difference. And the stock, hopefully, are out. Might have to give them a bale for another day or two, depending on the weather, but we're heading into a better time of the year. Clocks are going forward, so there'll be a nice stretch in the evenings. And we'll go from there. Thanks a million for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.